Hey, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Ivy, and today I'm going to be doing the Evermore Book Tag. I almost said folklore, but this is definitely Evermore. Taylor Swift released this album in December, I think it was, and so obviously I'm way behind, but you know, better late than never. If I had to compare this to folklore, I would definitely put folklore above it, but I did still love this album, and I do still love this album. It's not past tense. Oh, also, I forgot to mention that the original tag is from Enchanted Reader. I'll have her video linked down below. Our first song is Willow, and this is a book that is a masterpiece, and for this one I picked The Bunker Diary by Kevin Brooks. This book is essentially about our main character who ends up in a bunker with, like, I want to say 4 or 5 other people, and they don't know why they've been brought there, and it's crazy. I don't want to tell you too much because it's a book that you really just want to go into not knowing much, but it's so good. It is so fantastic. I still think about it all the time. My favorite line from the song Willow is, "Wherever you stray, I follow." Next is Champagne Problems. What is a book that caught you off guard? For this, I'm doing If I'm Being Honest by Emily Wibberley and Austin Sugement-Broca. Just looking at the cover of this book, I would never in my life expect to love this book as much as I did. I would have thought I would, you know, be entertained by it, but it was so good. Following a high school girl named Cameron, and she has a reputation for being a not so nice person because she's just brutally honest in everything that she does. She ends up trying to kind of reinvent herself and just become a better person, and it's kind of like a loose retelling of Shakespeare's The Taming of the Shrew, which is kind of fun. Not that I've ever read The Taming of the Shrew, but you get the idea. She also runs cross country, which is awesome because I run cross country, and that just made the book 10 times better. My favorite line from Champagne Problems is, "She would have made such a lovely bride. What a shame she's effed in the head." Next is Gold Rush. What is a book with a gold cover? I'm stretching this one a little bit. We have an Encyclopedia of Tolkien by David Day. As you can see, there are some gold things on there. It's obviously not entirely gold, but I was looking at my shelves and I couldn't find a single, like, actually gold book, so this is what we get. I haven't read this one yet. I got it for Christmas this past year, but I mean, it's a beautiful book and it's Tolkien related, so I know I'm going to enjoy it. My favorite line from Gold Rush is, "My mind turns your life into folklore." I mean, what an iconic line. The next song is "'Tis the Damn Season," and the prompt for this one is like a winter or Christmassy book. I have The Three Sisters by Sonia Halbach. This takes place at Christmas time, and it's about the granddaughter, I want to say, of the guy who wrote the poem "'Twas the Night Before Christmas." There's like a magical world that's discovered, and the main character, Maggie, yes, Maggie, goes on an adventure, and it's all Christmas related. My favorite line from "'Tis the Damn Season" is, "And wonder about the only soul who can tell which smiles I'm fakin'." The next song is Tolerate It. What is a problematic book? And I honestly couldn't think of a single book that would fit this. I mean, I just don't know. But my favorite line from Tolerate It is, "Now I'm begging for footnotes in the story of your life." No Body, No Crime. What is a mystery or a murder investigation book? I'm actually reading one right now. One of Us Is Next by Karen M. McManus. So this is actually a sequel to another mystery book, but basically this takes place at a high school where gossip has always been like a really big deal, and it's just a super toxic environment, and some anonymous person is sending out text messages and basically playing a game of truth or dare, where if you pick truth, a secret that you've been hiding gets revealed to the whole school, and if you pick dare, then it's obviously a dare. And there's some shady stuff going on, so this is a mystery, and I'm really enjoying it so far. I am not going to tell you my favorite line from No Body, No Crime because that would spoil the song and how amazing it is. If you haven't listened to it yet, you really should. It's so good. The next song is Happiness, and the prompt is, "What's a book about hope?" The Lord of the Rings. I cannot go a single video without mentioning this book, but you know, here we are again. I have no regrets. Honestly, I don't really know what to say. This book is just full of hope. I mean, it's full of, you know, darkness and evil things, but also hope in there. I mean, just look at Sam's speech in The Two Towers. I'm going off of the movies right now because I can't remember if it's actually in the books or not, but there's just a lot of hope in this trilogy, and that's part of why I love it so much. My favorite line from Happiness is, what is it? I can't find it. Oh, tell me, when did your winning smile begin to look like a smirk? Every time I hear that line, I'm like, oh, the burn. Next is Dorothea, and the prompt is a book to movie adaptation. For this, I'm gonna say Love, Simon, one of my favorite book to movie adaptations ever. It's adapted from Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertalli, which is one of my favorite books ever. It's just such a feel-good movie, but it also makes me cry every time I watch it because I love it so much. It's essentially about a kid named Simon who is gay but not out yet, and he starts being blackmailed by this other kid. My favorite line from Dorothea is, you know, you'll always know me. Coney Island, what is a book that brings back memories? Legend by Marie Lu. Legend is a dystopian. It came out of that period where that was basically like the biggest thing was dystopian young adult books. We're following two different characters. There's June, who is like the, oh my god, what's the society called? She's like the prodigy. She's very coddled, very privileged, but she's also like a complete and total badass. Then there's Day, who is the opposite. He's like, he should be dead, but he's being hunted and he's wanted for all these crimes, and obviously they come together eventually. Middle school, this like defined me. This series defined my middle school experience, and I love it so much, and I can't think about it without thinking about middle school, which now that I'm thinking about it maybe isn't that great, but the books are great. My favorite line from Coney Island is, and if this is the long haul, how do we get here so soon? The next song is Ivy, and the prompt is a book you can't help but love, so like a guilty pleasure read or whatever. I couldn't really come up with anything for this, so I just said One of Us is Lying by Karen M. McManus, which is the first book in this duology. I think it's a duology. There's nothing wrong with the book. I just feel like if you're actually into mysteries and thrillers and stuff, it's not the best, but since I read them so infrequently, I love it a lot. My favorite line from Ivy is, I'd live and die for moments that we stole on begged and borrowed time. Next is Cowboy Like Me. What is a book you weren't expecting to love, but you ended up loving? Where did I put it? 13 Reasons Why by Jay Asher. For this book, I wanted to read it because I had seen previews for the Netflix show, and the previews for that show make this book look like it's going to be a super exciting mystery thriller type of thing, and that is so not what this book is, but I'm so glad that that's not what it is. This had such an emotional impact on me, and I just was not expecting it. I was not expecting to be sitting in the backseat of my car sobbing while listening to the audiobook because I didn't see it coming at all, and I loved it so much. Favorite line from Cowboy Like Me is, forever is the sweetest con. Long story short, the prompt for this is a book that's under 300 pages. I honestly just like looked at my shelves and saw a book that looked short, and then it ended up being under 300 pages, and that was The City of Ember by Jean Duprow. That's definitely not right. This is something that I read a really long time ago. I'm just now realizing I really can't tell you what it's about. Let me look at the back. Right. So it's in the city of Ember, and the citizens get their jobs when they're 12, and the main characters are Lena and Dune. That is all I know. I remember enjoying this whenever I read it. My favorite line from Long Story Short is, climbed right back up the cliff. Long story short, I survived. Next is Marjorie, and the prompt is a biography, and I don't really read nonfiction. It's really bad. I really should read more, but I do have this one, I Am Malala, which is by Malala, but also with Patricia McCormick. This is the Young Readers edition because I read it years ago, but it's about Malala. Oh my gosh, I'm not gonna try to pronounce her name because I know that I'll butcher it, but it's an incredible story, and yeah, this is a really good book. My favorite line from the song is, "And if I didn't know better, I'd think you were singing to me now." For closure, the prompt is favorite last book in a series, and I chose Clockwork Princess by Cassandra Clare. This book is the third book in the Infernal Devices trilogy, which is part of the overall Shadowhunters Chronicles, but this is probably my favorite Shadowhunters book that there is. If you know exactly what goes down in this book, and that's all I'm gonna say because it's something to behold. If you want to read it, you have to go through a lot of books beforehand, but it is absolutely worth it. My favorite line is, "I'm fine with my spite and my tears and my beers and my candles." Now we have Evermore. What is a book that was painful to get through? The Silmarillion by J.R.R. Tolkien and edited by Christopher Tolkien. It's not that I didn't enjoy it, it's just what this book is. It's like a history, kind of Middle-earth. It's like a lot of stuff in it. It's really hard to explain, but it's so dense and so long, and I mean, just look at the size of the print, and it was really hard to read, but I did read it like cover to cover besides some of the appendices that were on like pronunciations. If you're not like super duper duper into Tolkien, I'd stay away from this one. Favorite line is, "I rewind the tape, but all it does is pause on the very moment all was lost." Alright, and then for the two bonus tracks, there actually weren't any questions in this tag, so I made up my own. First we have Right Where You Left Me, and the prompt is, "A book that you're still not over." For me, that's The Book Thief by Marcus Zuzak. I think I read this in like spring of last year, and it still just like sometimes hits me. The ending of this book and how heartbreaking it is. This is a book about a girl named Liesel who is growing up in Nazi Germany, and it's from a interesting perspective. I'm not going to tell you what that perspective is, because if you don't know, then I don't want to ruin the surprise for you. This is an incredible book, and I really need to read it again soon. My favorite line from Right Where You Left Me is, "You left me no choice but to stay here forever." The final song is It's Time to Go. What is a book that just wasn't for you? For this, I'm saying Hearts Made for Breaking by Jen Klein. It's not that I hated this book, it's not that it's a bad book, I just wasn't a huge fan. It wasn't my type of thing, it didn't vibe with me. My favorite line from It's Time to Go is, "Sometimes giving up is the strong thing. Sometimes to run is the brave thing." Alright, so I'm just really quickly going to go through my ranking of all the songs on Evermore. This is my very, very, very tentative ranking. So I'm going to start from my least favorite to my favorite. Evermore, Cowboy Like Me, Coney Island, Closure, It's Time to Go, Happiness, Dorothea, Right Where You Left Me, Ivy. I love how she named the song Ivy. It makes me so happy. 'Tis the Damn Season, Gold Rush, Tolerate It, Marjorie, Willow, Long Story Short, Champagne Problems, and No Body, No Crime. God, I love that song. So that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I will see you next time with another video. Bye.